Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I just got this in today, and this is everything we need to finish our reloading setup here and actually start loading some ammo. So I'm pretty excited to dive into this. Like I've said before, if you're a returning subscriber, welcome again. If you're excited for this as I am, and if you're a new subscriber, welcome. You might want to check out some of the older videos. They're not as interesting as these next few are going to be, but they're going to be pretty interesting nonetheless if you want to set up similar to what I have. Okay guys, so here we are, a little better view now. I got this big box from UPS today, so we're going to cut right into it and see what we can grab from it. So this is kind of what I've got going on here. Quite a few different things, and I'm gonna probably go most boring to least boring here. So set some of these off to the side for now. So, first thing's going to be, I think, the bullet puller, in my opinion. I mean, it could be exciting to some, but you only really use this if you got to redo a powder or charge to get the bullet out. I don't think that's going to work as well as I hoped it would. That's the bullet puller. Just wanted something cheap and easy, and that's kind of the cheapest and easiest they had when I was shopping around for it. This is a National Metallic one. And plastic everything, but how I guess this works is put your bullet in and you hit it and it releases the bullet from the shell and lets you save your primer and whatnot. So, interested to see how this works. You might have to use it, might not. We'll find out. So, put that there. So, next up, that's kind of boring. This is the shell plate for my specific cartridges, or cartridges that I'll be loading. This is a number 14 from Lee to fit their Breech-lock auto press, which is the press I went with, but you'll see that soon enough. I'm not going to unbox that as of right now. Same with the die. Well, we'll take a look at the dies. These are Schofield dies. Comes with a shell holder if you're using a turret or single stage press. Again, Lee, but so this is probably how it's going to show you how to seat these dies properly. Comes with a 5cc powder charge, and the rest of it's shell holder, dies, and powder charge scoop right there. So we'll get more into that later as well. And for these bigger stuff, you know, we'll kind of unbox it after we get the Breech-lock Pro set up, because Breech-lock Pro is kind of needed to kind of use these. So let's dive right into the Breech-lock Pro. So this is the box it comes in. Tells you what shell plates you need right off here. As you can see, my number 14 will do 45 Colt. And even though this says 460 Smith & Wesson, it will also do the 45 Smith & Wesson, which is what I'm going to be loading initially. And comes with a free bin and bracket. Not really free, but... So, we'll unbox this. They got staples on the top here that I'm going to try and pull up. Maybe. go. There we go. Get out of here. So, this is what you're going to get when you first open the box. You got your press and the accessories, and that's your bin in there, and some instructions. So let's, oh my gosh, my safety scale. It's not broken, don't worry. So it's going to come with, looks like a catalog for Lee, and the actual instructions on how to set this up. Put those aside. And it comes with, this is going to be the bin, and this is the bracket to hold the bin. This is a large primer arm, and this is what's going to seat your primers if you choose to use it. You can use a hand primer just fine. It also comes with two Allen keys here. A small one and a large one. I don't know the sizes off the bat. Okay. This is going to be your primer tube, so all the spent primers will drop into here, and then you can empty it through the bottom cap here. Do a container. And then this is the actual press itself. So it's progressive, it comes folded up, some assembly required, but comes with a quick start guide attached to it. A little dusty, I've noticed, but nothing a quick rub down with microfiber or something can't take care of. So we're going to get right into setting it up, and I'll tell you my impressions on the way, I guess. So I think a wrench is actually going to work a little better for this. So I've got to go find a wrench, 7/16 amongst other sizes. So I'm going to read the instructions real quick so I don't have to get up and find more wrenches. Okay guys, so I tightened down the nuts holding the press to the plate. That was with a 7/16 wrench, and you do want a wrench and not a socket. And now we're going to move this handle, and you're going to need the 1/2" wrench, not a socket. Well, you could use a socket on this one, I guess. So it says we're just going to, I think, let me double check. Apparently we got to reposition the handle, so I don't know if it comes loose enough or not. But we're going to reposition this to where we want it. I'm thinking not all the way out. Something like that, I think. You know, eyeball it. Tighten it down and, you know, give it a test. Oh my gosh. Not going to be the best video in the world. You want to make sure you got full movement, which I've got to go pretty high up to do. So I'll probably be sitting on the side of this when I'm doing it. That goes way down. But, and it's worth noting this has a nice wooden handle. So it has a nice wooden handle, and this is really nice, not plastic, and it feels really good. Everything feels a little lubed up, which is good. So, we're going to go on to the next step in making this, or setting it up. And it's to install the spent primer tube, and that was this little tube right here that I showed you. Now, this is a little tricky, and I won't get a close-up of it, just for simplicity, but you've actually got a little plastic collar on the unit itself, and that collar goes around this and kind of locks it in place. So I'm going to go do that now. So to avoid breaking this, I'm actually going to take it off because it's a little too close to the plate. So I'm going to slide it back a little bit so I can slide it up in there. Not everyone's going to have this problem, but I happen to have this problem. It sits really close. But now you can probably see a little more about what I'm talking about. There is a little hole here, and that's where your spent primers get tossed out of. So you're going to take this, and you can see it's kind of keyed to go right in. And then there's this little collar. It's going to snap around it. A little hard to do this all one-handed. But it's going to snap on it just like that. Now I can reinstall this. So the next step is to remove this lock ring eliminator. Like I showed you earlier, just twists out. And then we need to remove the indexing rod again. Just like that. And then there's a case ejector right here, and we're going to remove that. And it's got a split in the middle of it that you may or may not have already known if you've looked at other videos. And it's going to just be able to pull right out of its groove, just like that. This part is plastic, so be careful. It could very easily break, I'd imagine. Now we need to raise this to mid-stroke, about here-ish. And then we're going to install a shell plate. So this is the shell plate I've got, the number 14 from Lee for this specific press, the Breech-lock, auto Breech-lock. And we're just gonna slide this on. The only reason they want you mid-stroke is so that it doesn't interfere with this pin or anything like that. And then this is just gonna twist right on, or screw on, I should say. Hopefully. You might need your big Allen key. Also, they need it mid-stroke so you can actually get the Allen key in there to tighten it. So if you spin this counterclockwise, that will twist it in there. And then pull your hex counterclockwise, and that will get it as tight as you want it. And now I can lay that down. You'll notice this pin locks in with the case ejector or shell plate, so that you can't ever put it down in between a position. It always goes down where it's supposed to. So, with the carrier at the bottom, we have to install our indexing rod again. So this piece goes back in. We're going to reinstall our lock ring eliminator, or ring lock eliminator, just like that. And then we're going to reinstall our case ejector. It's got that slit so it can go through that indexing rod, and it's back on. So now we're going to install either our small or large primer arm. I'm using a, let's test the indexing function here. And I'm out of place here. There we go. So it works just like that. So this is the large primer arm, because you can see it has the L on there. So I'm going to install this. So I'm going to move that gate back, lift this up just a little. That's my priming arm. And so a primer will be placed in here by our auto primer that we have later. And then, so you place it there on the upstroke, and then when you're coming down, it will seat the primer, just like that. So, next thing it wants us to do is install dies according to the instructions. So that's what we're going to do. So like I said, this is my die kit. And, well, before I forget, this also has a handy place to put your extras that comes with. Okay guys, so I just changed the angle a little bit so you can see more of the Breech-lock press here. You got to see how that's operating. Somewhere, probably still in the box, I have a small primer arm that I need to retrieve. Right here, this one's designated small with the S. That should take care of, I think, everything in the box. So I'm going to set this aside. And this can kind of lay right on the side where it's supposed to lay. So anyway, our shell holder, which we're not going to use on this one, but and our dies. So let's break right into this and check it out. And this is a carbide die set, which means you don't need to lube your cases. Popular with pistol cartridges, rifle cartridges not so popular. But this is going to be our manual for setting all of this, I believe. And as you can see, it's the Smith & Wesson Schofield. And we're just going to follow the instructions step by step, and I'll kind of run it through you with you so you can kind of see what I'm doing, and hopefully this will help you learn how to seat your own dies if you don't already. So this die is our full-length sizer die, and essentially this will decap and also size our shell or cartridge. And when I say decap, I mean deprime. It will punch the primer out through the tube. So according to this, we're going to screw this full-length sizer in until it touches the shell holder, and then we're going to lower the ram and screw the die a quarter to a third turn more. And then we're going to tighten the lock ring finger tight. So we're going to try that right now. Okay, so I've got that finger tight now. And now it wants us to lower the ram. And we want to go a quarter to a third more. So I'm going to do it like that, hopefully. I can see that's going to be an issue, so I'm going to have to resize this again because I am running into this far die here. So, okay guys, so I'm back. I just realized that my bench was actually preventing me from making a full movement here, so I had to actually chop a good portion of my bench out to do it. But now everything's working pretty fluidly. It feels a lot better, but it's important that you can put this all the way up so that you can get a proper size on your die. So that's what we're going to come back and do again. I'm going to screw this nut all the way out, and I'm going to twist this in until it hits the plate. So that hit the plate right there. So now I'm going to lower this. I'm going to put it in a little further, about a quarter to a third turn more. Then I'm going to lock down our Breech-lock. Okay guys, so I found if you take these Breech-locks out before you seat your dies, it actually helps a lot. Before I decided to take it out and put it back in, I just couldn't get the Breech-lock system here to work. I mean, the whole, the die would come out, but not the Breech-lock. But after doing it the other way now, it seems to have gone a lot better. So now when I see it, I think I know that it's in the right position. Hopefully. Like I said, I'm learning just like you guys, so we're gonna find out. Might go through a case or two, but it is what it is. Okay guys, so I think I figured it out at this point. So you're gonna bring your ram all the way up, and then you're gonna screw your sizing die down till it touches like that. Then you're gonna lower it. Then you're gonna wanna do a half turn, or not half turn, a quarter turn to a third turn. Bring this back up, and that will hold your die in place. And that way there you can screw the locking ring down without your die moving around. My problem was I wasn't bringing the ram back up. So that was making it so I couldn't hold this and get an accurate turn on this lock ring. But Now that I'm holding it, the lock ring's staying in place and it's working really good. And you just want to hand tight this, I guess. So that's hand tight, and that should be in the correct position now. And now we should be able to twist that out, no fuss. So I think next step's probably going to be to install the safety prime, but I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to actually install all the dies first, but it kind of in the instructions here it says talks about priming, which is an accessory for this, or you can hand prime, but we're going to go ahead and do the expanding die next. So this is our expanding die, and what this does is this allows the powder charge to go through, and it will also expand the mouth just a little bit to allow the bullet to seat. And what they suggest is taking a tissue, running it through here to get rid of any residual oil. I'm not going to use this because I'm using the auto drum, so I'm going to take this off, and I am going to run a tissue through this. Also, an accessory to this is the auto disc riser. This will allow this to rise up above the safety prime, which is a necessity if you're going to use the safety prime, I do believe. So hopefully that got most of the residual oil out, guys. And this piece, I'm just going to screw on top of this piece, I do believe. Just like that. So we're going to put this up again, and we're going to turn this in until it touches the case plate. Or shell plate. I can feel that it's touched the shell plate now, so we're going to have to back this out one full turn. That should be one full turn. Now we're going to lock this down. But all this does is expand the mouth of the case to accept the bullet and let powder flow through it. So I'm going to have to play with this, but it's kind of down. So this is kind of as far as I can get with just the dies, because we need to seat a charged and ready bullet. So we're going to go ahead and put the safety primer on and the auto drum and kind of play with those so that we can put the final bullet seating die on, which also I believe crimps the dot or the bullet. So first thing I'm going to put on is the safety primer. Comes like this when you unbox it. So this comes with a small and a large primer, as well as two trays that interchange for both of them. These are some brackets. Comes with two screws. And a manual. So I'm going to go ahead and install it and see how it works. So the Breech-lock Pro is going to use this specific plate, mount, whatever you're going to call it. You're going to go ahead and unscrew the screw. So there we go, I got this hopefully reorientated in the right position. I'm using the large primer, so I'm going to put the large arm on. And it's going to go in just like that. And you should be able to line up, put a primer in, and just like that. Now I've been told on these that when you put your primer in, you want to press with the grooves, and that gives you the leverage that you need to seat the primer properly. So we're going to go ahead and load 100 of my Winchester primers in here so we can get set up. But that kind of concludes the safety prime, I guess. Using Winchester large pistol primers for standard or magnum loads. I'm going to go ahead and open the tray here, hopefully. So now that's in the open position and will allow me to open it. And here are primers, all 100 of them. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to dump them onto this tray. Or actually, I'm going to put the tray over them and then turn them upside down. You'll notice this tray is square to easily accept primers. And the little grooves inside the tray help get the primers in the right orientation. And the primer actually dispensed, so I know that's working correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and put primer tray back on here. And as you can see, there are quite a few primers that have gone down through this tray. So I'm just going to do a dry fire here and make sure it's kind of working to my expectations. And the primer fell. So we'll try another one. And that loaded it the correct way. And that's ready to seat into a bullet. So I'm going to put those two primers back and I'll save them. I do plan to load over 100 rounds today, so just make sure to put that back in. So that kind of takes care of the safety prime. And as I'm loading these, I'll kind of give you my impressions actually using them. But you can kind of see why we need this clearance, because this is a pretty big setup here now. So next I'm going to do the auto drum powder measure. And perhaps I should take this off while I'm installing stuff. So when you open the box, this is how it comes. Instructions are on the very top. And this is what's under the instructions. You got the actual canister to hold the powder. These are your drums. It comes with 2 of them, and keys to adjust them. And this is kind of the dispensing unit. So I'm going to go ahead and start installing this now and let you know while I'm doing it. opening this up, got a little chain that I've got to install, and this is going to verify that we don't double charge, and it's going to reset the system. This has a built-in double charge prevention system, which you know, don't really need for a progressive, but it's nice that they included it. guess now we're ready to run a case through here and test our powder charge. I'm going to grab one Schofield round. Make sure I have my instructions handy. Also make sure I have my safety scale ready, because we will have to use the safety scale. And I'm going to have to set the safety scale up to 0 here real quick before we begin. That's 0, guys, so I am going to begin by dropping a case in. This will test if we have our sizing die correct. That's in there. On this stroke, it's going to get resized. This is new brass. And then on this stroke, it's going to get primed. And before we continue, I'm going to check to make sure that the primer was seated correctly. It appears that it is. It's nice and flush. I'm going to load this back in, and we're going to put a charge in it. Okay guys, I don't know if I figured it out for sure, but I think I did. It turns out you need to turn the hopper on by turning it clockwise. So we're going to try to load a charge now. And success. We have a charge in our case. So I'm now going to measure this on my powder scale. Set to just about 0. Empty this, make sure it's clean. While I'm waiting for that to balance out, I'm going to double check what my charge is going to be. And I'm loading Hornady 255 grain bullets of the lead variety. So we're going to flip over there. And it says I'm going to start small. I'm going to use 4.6 grains of powder for my initial load. About 0, so I'm going to put this in and see what we got. Okay, so that's on the powder. Now I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to start with about 4 grains. So believe it or not, guys, that's actually reading about 4.6 grains of powder right now. So I'm pretty happy with that. We're gonna do a few more and see if they keep coming out like that to see if this thing's pretty consistent. So I'm gonna dump this powder back in. Put the cover back on, and I'm going to use the same case. Bring it up. Good charge. Got the charge in here, and I'm going to drop it. This is a little higher than 4.6. This is 4.7 grains, but that's still pretty good. It's within the level that I want to use. So I'm going to do another one, and then after a couple of these, I'm going to start actually sizing our bullet. Seeing it. Okay guys, so I finally got the powder where I wanted it. It's dispensing about 4.6 grains. And next we're going to test how my crimp went with the crimping portion of the die. So you want your crimp so that you can put the bullet in like that, but don't want to scrape any lead, and you want it to be the smallest crimp possible in order to do that. This crimp doesn't look too bad, but I think on the next one I might try and bring it in just a little closer because it does look a little wide near the mouth. So now that we've got that, and I guess according to YouTube I can't show you this part, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it. And what we're gonna do is, unfortunately I gotta cut these videos short because my stuff's dying and it's getting a little late, but I'll probably come back after I have the whole setup, and I'll kind of tell you my thoughts and opinions, but so far it's pretty good. I still got to mount this bucket, but I mean, this is pretty much reloading. I'm going to still show you how to put your bullet seating die on before I go, but after that, you kind of have everything set up, and it works as good as you'd think it would so far, once you kind of set everything up and know what you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there, kind of show you how to use that. So this is our bullet seating and crimping die, and that goes on this far one here. So, according to the instructions for them, we need to raise the ram to the top of its stroke and hold it with the bullet on there, I believe. They're loaded rounds, so I have to go and get a bullet that's already been made, essentially. So I'll be back. Okay guys, so what we did was we put a loaded round in here, and now we're going to back the adjustment screw, I believe. Wait, one second. Okay. So no, I guess we just screw this until it stops turning. So just gonna screw this in until it stops turning. So right there, just about. It's about right there. Now we're gonna release the lever. And we're gonna thread in an additional 1/8 of a turn. about there. Now we're going to finger tighten the lock ring. That's where I feel it right there. I guess apparently that will set it to this exact size. And I think that one's a little out of spec. So I'm going to double check. It's a little out of spec, so I'm actually going to make this seat a little further. Let's see what happens. But so that's the loaded round I used, and now we're going to try our first round. So I'll come back a little later and tell you how everything went, but so far this has kind of been the end of the series. Got our lead press set up, looking good, a little messy, but I'm pretty happy with it. I'll do a little review a little later and let you know what I think. Bye guys.